So, hello, influencers. Happy Friday. As many of you know, we typically do not go live on Fridays. However, due to the technical difficulties Wednesday and per your request, we are back. So, first of all, I want to just say thank you to each and every one that was on the broadcast on Wednesday for all of your patience. I truly do appreciate it. So listen, guys, if you're on here, please share this live out. Thank you again to Mr. Troy Carroll, who has decided to come back on tonight to speak to the topic, when dysfunction stabilizes you. Listen, guys, if you have not been tuning into the Wow Inspired broadcast, I urge you, tell a friend, tell a neighbor. We are live every Wednesday at 10 p.m. and every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. I'm super excited to be able to do this broadcast tonight with Mr. Troy Carroll. And I'm super excited because tomorrow morning we will have a mutual friend of ours, sister friend of ours, the elect lady, the wife coach herself. Let me just say, the wife coach herself, I believe in what she's doing. And I'll tell you that she is amazing as well. Miss Kimberly Cleveland, who will be speaking to the topic, understanding the ministry of preparation and maintenance. Understanding the ministry of preparation and maintenance. So without any delays, we are going to bring Mr. Troy Carroll on tonight. And I am not exactly sure. So I'll wait a few moments just for him to come back on or him to send the request. I'm just super excited, guys, because as I posted the inspirational message yesterday, the Lord was speaking to my spirit, and he just had me to encourage you all to not forget to check in with him. Like, don't forget to check in with God. I mean, in all that you do, be reminded to check in with God daily. Like, seriously, daily. I mean, we make a fool of ourselves when we get out of communication, when we get out of alignment with God. So be so sure that you are checking in with God daily, because that's where you're going to get your next set of instructions from. So we're going to try it, guys. Well, hello, Mr. Troy.
How are you?
I am amazing. Listen, we don't have any feedback tonight. The picture looks good to me.
Good.
So let's just kind of go right into it. I mean, you're speaking to the topic, when dysfunction stabilizes you. So I know you have some good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and step out of the way. I want you to introduce yourself again, as well as after you introduce yourself, go dive right in.
All right. Thank you so very much, Shay. So first and foremost, always it's always a pleasure to have an opportunity to work with you to share our message. I think that our tandem way of handling things reaches more people. It allows our message to be able to have a better impact on those out there. Sometimes we think that it's not enough pie for us to eat, but it shows the willingness in ourselves to share what we have with one another and with others. So my
Yes.
name is Troy Carroll. I also go by Troyisms, which is part and parcel a way I use my sayings to describe part of what's inside of me and what I want to give to you based off of things that are happening either in your life right now or could have potentially happened in the past. And I'm a motivational speaker, a life coach, a human performance improvement specialist. And I'll
Mm.
explain that. So each of us performs in some shape, form, or fashion in our lives. And some of us need some coaching in that direction to perform better, to improve ourselves. So it's not just life coaching, which is GPS to get you where you need to go, but also improving you on the way. Um, I also do leadership counseling, relationship counseling, and one-on-one career development. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, and I moved out here to sunny California about 5 years ago.
And we heard that
So
story on the last broadcast.
yeah,
If you missed it, I mean, go back and watch that
yeah,
broadcast because
yeah,
that story, I mean, mental health matters too, right? And that
it
story
matters.
was
It
literally
matters.
like an eye opener for me as a woman, as well as our men listeners, our men viewers. I mean, the feedback that I received from that live is like, man, like he don't have the story, his ending of his story didn't end like mine, but I need to
Right.
listen to him. So I appreciate you, Troy, for this collaboration, this partnership. So tonight we're actually going to just go right in. When dysfunction stabilizes you, let's get
So
to it.
let me first start off by saying that because the statement you made it resonates with me on a very deep level. You said that's not how my story ended. Even as we talk about dysfunction, sometimes we will see that that's not how our story ended. Here's the key: you write your story. No one
Mm-hmm.
else does. And if you don't like the way the story is going, pick up a fresh pen, a fresh piece of paper, and start again. So that leads us right into dysfunction, right? So the term dysfunction means impairment, and it normally applies to a bodily organ. But in this particular instance, we're going to talk about how it applies and impacts a person's life, not just their life, but their life spaces. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
speak of spot because I look at when we think of terms of our lives, we have small compartments that we live in, right? So we have our workspace, we have our family space, we have our mental space, we have our heart space, and last but not least, we have our head space. So those spaces can be adversely impacted by dysfunction. Where does dysfunction start? It could be right at your childhood. It could be in a relationship. It could be at your workspace. It could
Mm-hmm.
be amongst your friends. All of these things can be dysfunctional, meaning impaired or not working as it should be. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, that's your opinion, that's your perception, and they're absolutely right. But let's talk about something. I can almost guarantee that most of us are not where we would like to be. We're surviving during hard time on planet Earth. I'm going to say it again. We are surviving during hard time on planet Earth. Just getting by, right? We got a little bit of commissary, right? But we're not actually thriving in our lives, sometimes because of the dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those who had dysfunction at the very beginning, your parents, because your core beliefs, your core identity all starts there first. Your parents, I'm not saying they were bad parents. I'm not saying that Nana wasn't great. What I am saying is that her habits, her cultural habits, her home habits, her love habits, all of these things that were taught to you by the people who loved you and loved you in the best interest of hoping you to become the best person that you could be may have been dysfunctional. Now, I can speak from
Mm-hmm.
experience from that perspective. I'm going to tell you another story about my mom. And I love my mother to death, but we didn't have a good relationship until about 10 years ago. So you have to understand the pain that I had to endure to reforge myself. My mother was not around me until the age of 9. And she admittedly said, baby, I was a party person. I wasn't ready to be a mother. I didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
be a mother. So what did I learn from that respect? Well, one, I learned abandonment by the person you love. I learned how to break vows because every time she came, she left. I
Mm-hmm.
learned how to not have a stable household because she was never there. Now, at the time, as a child, how could I possibly know that was going to impact me? How was I going to know that it was going to affect most of my life? I wouldn't because I was in dysfunction. And you don't know that it's dysfunction. Now, I know you say, well, that's not showing how a dysfunction stabilizes you. Oh, it can. So I want to talk about 3 words: paradigm, catalyst, and crucible. So your paradigm is a series of patterns and things that you can see or experience, or your perception of those patterns. And when you change your paradigm, when you stop looking at dysfunction as functional, the abnormal as normal, the aberrant as being okay, you get to go through a crucible in your life. A crucible is where you reforge things, you make things. But in order to go through the crucible, after you change your paradigm, you have to have a catalyst. My catalyst was me losing my life and dying on the operating table. That
You
was an
like
eye opener.
literally?
Yes, ma'am, literally. Pulmonary
Mm.
edema. I drowned myself. And if it wasn't for the fact that I had to sit on the couch, I could barely breathe, my motor functions were diminished, I couldn't speak properly, and my thought process were slowed. But they were slow enough to slow me down and help me realize I wanted something different for myself. I had
Wait,
lived in dysfunction. Yes, ma'am.
wait. So we're talking about the motivational Troyisms that's speaking on this broadcast tonight was in a place where you couldn't you were in a place where you were immobile?
My motor functions were diminished, so walking was hard. I had
Wait,
very little strength because the oxygen amount that was going inside my body was so low.
Troyisms had an issue with walking. The
Walking,
gentleman that's
talking, thinking.
addicted to going to the gym now
Yep.
once had an issue with walking.
Talking and thinking.
Wait. We're going to get to the topic, but I need to stop right here, right?
Okay.
And the reason why I want to stop right here is because someone that's listening, someone that's watching, someone that will watch this playback needs to understand that your present situation is not your uh it's not your final end.
That is
So
true.
the Troy that is speaking on this broadcast tonight is telling me that you once had an issue where you were thinking, your thinking wasn't as normal, or it was the process wasn't as as it is now. You once
Correct.
had an issue where you were not as like had an issue walking.
Correct.
Like real
Big
life,
impact
like
on
this
me.
is not a mental thing, like
No.
physical impairment.
Yes.
So somebody that's watching this, somebody that's going to catch the replay, we're going to get into when dysfunction stabilizes you. And now I understand, thank you, God, why this topic is so important, right? Because you could have sat on the couch, right? And became complacent with the place you were in and said,
That's
this is
true.
how my life. Like, Troy, could you hear what I said? I don't know what's happening, but we are going to finish this broadcast. Listen, Troy looks like he's stuck over there. However, listen, you lost connection. Okay, well, you may want to end so we can bring you back in. However, reason we're talking about when dysfunction stabilizes you, but if you were listening a while ago, if you heard what he said, that thing just woke me. Says your present situation, what you are currently facing is not your final end. Don't get comfortable where you are. Don't allow what is keeping you back right now to become your crutch to keep you there. So we got to get him back on. Like, oh my Lord, listen. God is so amazing. Ooh, mm. God is so amazing.
All right, we're back in business.
I'm so, oh my goodness, listen, the devil is a liar. We are going to get this out. But Troy, I'm so sorry. Just had a whole moment. God is so amazing, and I bless God
Absolutely.
for
Yes.
you. I bless God for you. I mean, seriously. Just hearing that, like, whoa. So back to you. I'm sorry. God
No,
is
it's
good.
okay.
Just somebody need to know your current situation is not your final end when
No, it never
dysfunction.
is. Right. So your comfort zone is where your dreams go to die. And I got comfortable for a moment. Let me tell you,
Mm,
I don't want you to think for any second that it was like, oh, I'm okay. I can make it through this. I didn't. I couldn't. One of my best friends, he's passed away
mm,
now. He said to me, I want you to read to me. I'm like, hey, I can't read because it comes out slow and it's hard for me to get my words out. She said, I don't care. He came and sat with me every day
mm,
and he made me read. It was the most difficult thing I had ever done in my entire life to simply read, just to get words out and together, not broken up. If I messed up, he made me start again. So I had to train myself to get my brain back active, train my body to become active again. Walk, move. I would go to the Patapsco flea market and walk around. 15 minutes, I was done. So I say that to say that that was the crucible for me, right? Because I was all over the place. I was running the streets. I was dating a bunch of women. I was just doing whatever. I wasn't saving any money. I was living from paycheck to paycheck. I was just surviving. And that moment stopped me right dead in my tracks. I mean literally and figuratively. It stopped me dead in my tracks. But it allowed me to sit back
mm,
and say, what do I want to do? Now, at the time, I worked as a team leader for a company in Sparks, Maryland. And I worked the 3:30 to 12 shift. And I was about to go back to work. And I've been sitting back saying, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, but I don't know what I want to do. And I realized I loved speaking. I loved helping people. It was just, how could I turn that passion into a purpose? So I came up with the three P's. There's a Troyism for you: passion, purpose, position. If you can understand your passion, you will find your purpose and you can get your position.
mm.
That dysfunction in my life was broken at that moment, but I had a choice. I could have gone back to where I came from. I could have settled for being a team leader and then maybe become an operations manager and staying and doing that because I was comfortable doing it. I knew that worked. My dysfunction from not staying in one place, not maintaining a household, all the things I learned from my mother allowed me to be comfortable. I was comfortable in dysfunction. How much sense does that make? Zero. So what I ended up doing instead was relearning me, but it still wasn't enough. I'm gonna tell you another word: chrysalis. Chrysalis is that state of metamorphosis, of transformation. Trans means change. It's from one place to the next, right? My chrysalis period occurred when I moved here to California.
5 years ago.
5 years ago, but I was still dysfunctional. Don't think for one moment that it was that easy, because those shackles that I had placed on myself, I had,
Mm.
I had packed my bag full of that stuff and I brought it with me. It was a bag full of garbage, but I brought it with me. So I put it in my closet, and every so often I would go back in and reach and grab a pair of dysfunction to apply to my new life. How much sense did that make? Now, walk with me for a second. It made no sense,
Mm.
right? But I didn't know at the time. that I was dysfunctional. But believe me when I tell you that those hardships helped to forge the man that I am today.
Come
Not that I'm
on.
growing. What I'm saying is that what I was given wasn't too much for me to bear because I was given a second chance, right? What I was
Mm-hmm.
given was not too much for me to bear. I thought it was, but I was wrong. And the strength that I had inside that could only come from one place, right? Can I get an amen? It could only come from one place, right?
Amen. Come on. Yes. One
So,
place.
one place.
Ooh.
And we
Mm.
all have that greatness inside of us. I think sometimes we think, I mean, I'm not worthy. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. The moment you ask yourself, I'm worthy, it means you are because you're here to ask.
Mm. Mm.
So even though I had a dysfunctional life, most of my life, not some of it, most of it, no daddy, no mama, raised by my grandmother. She died in my arms at 9 years old. No one else around, just me.
Mm.
Running the streets, I should have been dead. I could have been on drugs. I could have been a multitude of things, but I wasn't.
Come
And by
on.
grace, even with that dysfunction, it helped to stabilize me, create what they call a baseline, right? It was like, this is what's the new normal. And I was able to do that simply by having time to get back into reevaluating who I am. Core identity, which is who you truly are. Who do you think you are?
Come
Who told
on.
you how to be you, right? Who taught you that? Normally, again, it's your parents, it's your friends, it's your environment, it's television. That's what's teaching us to be us because we never asked the question, who am I? And sometimes when we do ask that question, you know what we do? We're afraid to look in the mirror. We're afraid to say, that's me. We're afraid to
Come
accept that.
on.
So I took a
Whoo.
long, hard look at myself and I
Mm.
was able to take that and say, I'm not broken. I may be a little bruised, but I'm not broken. And I'm meant to be something more than I am right now. And I'm going to work on
Amen.
finding out who I am. And I'm going to challenge some of the things that I believed my entire life, and I'm going to change it. You challenge it, and then you change it. No other way will ever work.
Joy. Oh, listen. Jesus is good to us. Hello. Hallelujah. Listen, I'm not even going to go get started on here tonight. I'm not. But first of all, my mind is still stuck at what you said 10 minutes ago about you sitting there not being able to really speak, right? So
Right.
now I'm going to the story in the Bible where God is speaking to Moses, and Moses is saying, like, I can't say this because I have a speech problem. So
Right.
Moses,
Yeah.
God sent Aaron to Moses and say, listen, you're going to be the one to help train it's just so much. However, Troy. So before I get into all of that stuff, right?
Right.
Um, one of my girlfriends, she's watching, and when I tell you, you were like spot on, everything, like everything spot on. Today I had this conversation. So yesterday God was dealing with me with, don't forget to tell my people, make sure they're checking in with me. Their next set of instructions comes to them when they check in with me. So I said, listen, guys, in all that you do, we seek affirmation from family, we seek it from friends, we seek the approval. You need to be sure that you're checking in with God. Check in with
Right.
Him today, not only today, but daily. Anyway, today I said to her yesterday after he told me this, he dealt with me and he said, when your luggage turns into baggage.
Okay.
So when you got to talking about you pack that dysfunction up in
Yes.
your luggage and you took that dysfunction with you
Mm-hmm.
from Baltimore to California, and you not only did you take it, but you packed it away, and every now and then you went to grab for it. So it
Right.
leads me to my question. Mr. Troy, someone that is dealing with dysfunction, that has allowed dysfunction to stabilize them in a way that their dysfunction is now their norm. How, and they would ask the question, well, how do I know that this is dysfunctional? Because to me, this is functional. What would you say to them?
One, I would ask a question, which is, are you where you believe you should be? If the answer is yes, then we have to do some more digging. So the next question is, could you be better? If the answer is yes, it is what is preventing you from being better? And then we can start peeling away. But ultimately, what it comes down to is me asking someone, who are you? Remove the labels. When I say who are you, I don't mean my name is Troy. I work at such and such company. I'm a father. I'm a husband. Those are titles. I'm not saying they're not important. What I'm saying is that those are only labels that you have learned to define yourself. If you say, this is what I am, and this is all that I am, you are dysfunctional. I don't care if you
Mm.
make $1,000 a year. I don't care if you make $150,000 a year. Are you happy every day when you wake up? Then you're dysfunctional. If you don't have a great relationship with your spirit, guess what? You're dysfunctional. If you don't have a great relationship with your mom,
Ooh.
you are dysfunctional. So at no point can you tell me that you're good. If you can, it means you have never questioned who you are. Most of us don't. You think I did? I didn't. I had to learn that I had never questioned myself about myself.
Mm.
So when you say you're good, I call you a lie because I can guarantee you, you are not where you should be in all spaces of your life,
Mm.
right? How many people do you know who have the Mercedes Benz sitting outside of a 3-bedroom townhouse with 3 acres? They got the dog, right? You know, little foo-foo when they carry in the purse, but they can't seem to keep a relationship to save their life. Are they dysfunctional?
Ooh.
Yes. How
Ooh.
many people have a great relationship, but they're always robbing Peter to pay Paul? Are you dysfunctional? Yes. Now, I'm not saying that to insult anyone or degrade anyone. What I'm saying is, I want you to wake up and get up. I want you to stop being okay with being mediocre. I want you to stop saying the average is good enough. I want you to stop aiming low and expecting high. What I want you to do is to question every single thing you've ever learned. Because if you don't question, you can't know for certain. That's where we start. It hurts.
And that
You may shed some tears, but it's necessary.
is
It is necessary.
necessary. And that is the Troyism. Now, listen, I ain't never seen Troy that hype. I'm like, yeah, give me some more of that, give me some more. Now, just saying, like, Troy, that's the truth.
It's the
It's
truth.
the truth. And the reality is we all have some dysfunction within us, right?
Yeah,
That we need to work out of us, right?
that's right.
Because when we allow dysfunction to become our functional normal, right? Our mind starts to think that this is how life is supposed to
It's
be.
supposed to
And
be.
because life is supposed to be this way, then I become susceptible to anything and everything because I no longer see what I'm deserving of. I'm just
Right.
knowing that this is all I'm good for. So when you
Block
say that,
wrong
oh my
mentality.
God, oh,
Block wrong mentality. When I was growing
oh,
up, all I wanted was I wanted a row house that I was going to rent. I wanted to have a car with some rims on it with a nice sound system, and I want a big flat screen television. That's all I want. That's all I
mm,
want. What about peace in my life?
come
That's
on.
all I want. I don't want to have a lasting love that's going to help propel me to the next level of who I'm supposed to be. That's all I want. We create a really short checklist for what makes us happy or excited about getting up the next day. You ready to
Mm.
get up and go get a pair of Jordans, to get a pair of Jordans, but you're not ready to hop up out the bed and work on your spirit. You're not excited about getting up and working on your body or your mind or your relationship with you. Not even talking about somebody else. You're not excited about working on a relationship with the person that you stare at in the mirror. Let me tell you something. I used to weigh 220 pounds. I lost, when I got sick, I lost 40 pounds, but that was 15 years ago. So I've gained about 20 pounds back, but I'm still under my 20-pound weight. I refused to look in the mirror when I was 220. I refused to. I would get dressed in the dark. That's the same way we avoid the spirit inside of us. It's the same way we avoid the dysfunction. We'd rather not see it. We'd rather not acknowledge it. You know why? Because we think if we look at it, we are somehow broken. We are not. Listen, life will bruise you, but it cannot break you.
Not unless
You
you
only
allow
have
it.
a couple different choices. Not unless
Not
you
unless
allow
you
it.
allow it to.
Not unless you. But isn't that everything? Right? I heard something this morning. I'm going to tell you what the story was. It was a guy who was on his way to a convention. He was sitting in the back of a cab, and a truck came out and almost sideswiped him in the wrong. The guy leaned out the window. He's shaking his hand. He's throwing up his finger. He's cursing him out. The cab driver says, "Have a nice day." The guy in the back seat said, "Wait a minute. This guy almost wrecked the car, put us in a hospital, and you just let it roll off you like water off a duck's back. How did you do that?" The guy replied. The cab driver said, "People are like dump trucks. Sometimes, as they go through life or their day, they pick up garbage. And at some point, it gets so full, they have to dump it someplace, and that someplace is sometimes you. I'm not going to pick up and carry anybody's garbage for them. I'm not. I refuse to. The same thing applies to if your bag is full of crap, don't bring it and put it in my bag. That's contraband. I don't want that with me.
Oh, no,
You can
what's
leave
your
that alone.
contraband? I don't need no extra time in the hole. I've been there
I don't
long
need no time.
So,
So,
guys, listen, Troy, I gotta tell you, like, I just think, like, you took this to a whole nother level. Like, I ain't never seen that side of you. So, thank
no,
you for
you're welcome. But I want to
taking
thank you
off,
too.
taking off, taking off the, taking off the brakes, and just literally letting yourself flow, right? Because the reality is that I say all the time, when you play safe, you playing scared. So
Yeah,
sometimes
no
you
risk,
just
no
gotta go
reward.
for broke and just let it be what it is. And guess what? I
Yeah,
didn't even have to say it. If your spirit ain't right, Troy said, you're dysfunctional.
yeah,
It is what it is. If you like, I mean, seriously, like, and I just was like in my own zone because it's like people really don't understand that it's really so much more to life than the
yeah,
materialistic Mercedes Benz, than the
yeah.
house on the hill. Like you
Right.
said, a person can have that, the little poodle in a bag, and still be unhappy, can't keep a
Right.
relationship. Every time you
Mm-hmm.
turn around, they're depressed. Every time you turn around, they got anxiety through the roof. What is the problem?
Right.
Money cannot buy peace. Peace
Yeah.
is priceless, right?
Yes.
So you have to be intentional about making peace your priority. And the
Agree.
reality is, Troy, you are so right. When we ask people, introduce yourself, the first thing they say is they talk so much about, tell me about you. They tell
Right.
you all of their titles.
Right.
I'm Shay. I work for the state of Maryland, and
Right.
I do this and I do that. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. Like, who are you?
Right.
And the Lord dealt with me, and He said, shift cannot take place until SHIFT, right?
Right.
Starts to happen when you deal with your identity,
Mm-hmm.
the fears, and the threats, right?
Yes.
You
Yes.
cannot move. God cannot allow you to transition. You can't shift if you're not really ready to deal with your identity, not the
Right.
identity of other people, but what
Right.
you see in the mirror, right? The
Right.
fears that has kept you in your dysfunction, that has kept you from going to the next level. You got to deal with the fears, and you have to deal with the threats that's coming when you shift. Everybody's not going to be happy for you. God spoke to
Right.
me this morning. He said,
Yeah.
favor ain't free. Favor
No.
ain't free.
Nope.
When you look at the definition of favor, favor is, the approval, the support, or the liking of someone or something.
Right.
I can't just call you up and I don't know you, Troy, and say, Troy, can you lend me? I need a favor. First of all, I'm going to say, I need a favor. And you're going to be thinking like, a favor from me? Like I have to go through a process to earn favor. And the problem is we don't want to go through process. So this is
No,
why,
we
truly,
don't.
as you say, we don't want to deal or we don't want to talk about what's dysfunctional because we
Right.
fail to go through the process. So in
Right.
order for us to deal with our dysfunctional ways, in order for us not to be functional in dysfunction, we got to go through a process. The problem is when we go through the process, we start going through the process, we get in the middle of the process and we want everything. God, I want to be in this place. We want to be in every place
Right.
of peace, but we don't want to experience pain. Before you get
Right.
to peace, you have to go through some pain.
You gotta go through the
Right?
pain. Life brings you pain. Life
Nobody want to
brings
go
you
through
pain.
pain.
Growth, they call it growing pains for a reason. They call it growing pains for a reason. If you just want to have growth without pain, then you don't want growth. What you
That's
want is
it.
you want it easy. What you want to do is change. You know what you change? You change your hair, you change your clothes, you change your shoes. Growth is what happens to you internally and externally.
But it's got to happen from the inside out.
Inside out.
Inside
Always
out
inside.
evolution, yes.
Inside out evolution is
Listen, it's got
always
to happen from the
inside out.
inside out. We get too busy fixing up all of this. And when
Yep.
I first started these lives a few months ago, the Lord allowed me to speak to the topic, it's time to slay. And a lot of people tune into that live because everybody want to slay. Everybody want to
Right.
look good, right?
Right.
But I wasn't talking about slaying in the natural. I'm talking about slaying in the spirit. There is things
Right.
within us that we don't want to deal with, but we'll take an hour and a half to beat our face before we go outside. Or we'll
Yeah.
take 200 pictures because we don't want the world to see our imperfections. So now
Right.
I'm just like, listen, I got to be presentable. So that's why I put my hair down and I don't wear a scarf because that's like, it's just professional. But at the
Right.
same time, like now I'm okay. I don't have to wear makeup. I don't have to
Me
wear makeup.
neither.
And I'm okay with my freckles. This is one thing I didn't like about me. But everybody else they seen it and say, you're so cute. I just love your freckles. And I'm like,
Right.
ooh, you do? So it's the very things that we do not like about ourselves. The very things that we do not like about us, we utilize those things that we don't like to hide behind
Right.
the dysfunction.
And that is also dysfunction because someone has taught you at some point freckles weren't good, right? That's a dysfunctional thought process. Somebody taught me, look, when I was younger, because I'm only about 5'7", okay? And most of the time I would meet women, they would say, oh, you a good looking chocolate man, but you're too short for me. Now we'd be the same height. I need to set the stage here. We'd be the same height, but I was too short for them. I'm like, well, I'm 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 either your height or I'm taller than you. Oh, but you're not. That's the dysfunctional thinking. You've applied a thought process that only a tall man is attractive, regardless of what he looks like, regardless of how he treats you, regardless of what his spirit is. He's tall. That's
Yeah.
dysfunction. It's just fun. I'm not knocking on tall brothers. I'm not knocking on the short sisters, tall sisters. What I'm saying is we haven't learned to love ourselves enough in a functional way to truly be to love others, and it includes our life and what could be in our lives. We don't realize exactly how impacting this dysfunction was, how you were taught to love incorrectly has affected your life. But here's the thing, it's still not the end. It's still not me. You have a chance every sunrise to turn it
Yes.
around. You have an
Yes.
opportunity to always say, I don't have to live like this. Live like what, Troy? Live like less. Have a mediocre mentality. Be a mediocrist. You always have an opportunity to look at yourself, to find out a better way to be a better you. That dysfunction can be a catalyst for it. But you got to embrace that pain. You got to say, you know what? When I go to the gym and I did that extra rep, it hurt. It hurt. Not pulling the muscle hurt, but I had a strain to that last rep. But over time, you become stronger. And over time, that dysfunctional muscle that wasn't strong enough to lift that weight is now strong enough to lift that weight plus some. It can provide a catapult for you to be something extra, right? That problem can propel you. It doesn't have to dispel your opportunity.
Amen. Amen. And you know what? Right there, I don't have anything to say behind that. As you have already said, it is not too late. It is not too late, guys. So I'm gonna let that be the lid on tonight's conversation. Troy, again, thank you, and thank you very much for just your transparency, right? A lot of times it's hard, it's very difficult for men to be transparent. I mean, to hear you say when you were at your heaviest, like you did not even want to get dressed.
Yeah.
You had to get dressed with the lights off.
Mm-hmm.
Men don't have this vulnerability in today's society because of the stereotypes that comes with a man being vulnerable. However, while wisdom optimizes winning, with the wisdom that we are giving you tonight, understand that the biases and the stereotypes do not have to define you as a man. Allow those things to be your catalyst to say, I'm going to be different. I'm going to be all that God has called me to be. So, Troy, I cannot thank you enough. I thank you. I thank God for you. I thank God for your testimony. I thank God that tonight you inspired me. Like if no one else was inspired, you inspire me. And for those that, will catch the replay, understand that ultimately, whatever your present situation is, it does not have to be your final end. Troy, what are your closing words for our viewers and those that will come back and catch the replay?
So when it comes to success and prosperity, it's only a matter of when, not if, but only if you're willing to go through the fire to get through the other side. It's all up to you.
Amen. Troy, how can people contact you?
Troyisms@gmail.com. You can reach me on Facebook at Troyisms. Also on Instagram at Troyisms on Instagram. And the Inside Out Evolution website will be up Sunday. Will be live Sunday.
Yes. So let us know. We definitely got to share that in the Wow Inspired platform to let people know. So, guys, as we are closing out, please, 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 I know 10 a.m. comes fast for many of us. Troy, I'm sure you'll probably be asleep, but definitely catch the replay. Tomorrow, the wife coach, our sister friend, Kimberly, thank you for tuning in with us tonight. Kim, we appreciate you. She's on here. She will be our speaker tomorrow, speaking to the topic, understanding the ministry of preparation and maintenance. Then on Wednesday, we have the beautiful Shelly Johnson, who will be speaking to the topic, wounded but not broken. Wounded but not broken, right? And then closing us out next Saturday is the amazing Lady Quana Renee, speaking to the topic, success after failure. So thank you all. Sister Yvette, thank you for staying with us to the very end. You said this was good. We appreciate you. It's because of you all that we show up each and every week, that we show up each and every day, matter of fact, that God has given us the purpose to be able to impact and inspire you all. So listen, guys, we are only here, simply here for you, but most importantly, to inspire the influencer in you. Have an amazing night, and we will see you tomorrow morning at 10. Thanks again, Troy. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Shay.
you. Now it's real early there, so you go and enjoy your night with your wife.
Thank you so
Again,
much.
send my love to the queen. Let her know I appreciate her and I thank her
Absolutely.
for sharing you with us for this time that we have had tonight, as well as the other times that you are going to be coming. So we appreciate you. And if
Thank you,
you did
Shay.
not know, the last announcement, Troy will be in Maryland on next month, and we will be
Yep.
doing a live event. So we are going to get that date out by Monday so that we can start planning and that you can take off of work, rearrange your schedule to be in the
Whatever you need
building
to do,
to
come
meet
on
him,
out. Yeah.
up close and in person, all for the live. So thanks again, Troy. I
Certainly.
appreciate you. You guys have a great night. Again, we're just here to inspire the influence in you. I love you to life. Have an amazing night.